Hello, my name is Reverend Dr. May Elise Cannon. Today is Thursday, October 3rd. Today is day 363. Since October 7th, 2023, the attacks by Hamas on the south of Israel. Greetings from Amman, Jordan. I'm still here until tomorrow morning. It's around 9 p.m. I'm here in the Middle East. I finished a long day of meetings with Christian leaders, Muslim leaders, political leaders in the Jordanian government and the royal court here in Amman. And I promise tonight's update will not be as long as yesterday. I apologize. I know that I talked for a long time. There was a lot to share, and I could do the same tonight. There's so many things that you just get perspective about being here on the ground. But before I go into a very concise update, I promise, about the news of the last 24 hours, I wanted to summarize a few key things that I heard in some of the meetings I had today. And if you're interested in hearing more, I will be giving a public readout of some of my meetings and travels to Egypt, Jordan, Palestine, and Israel the week that I get back, which is after October 12th. You can find out more about that through our weekly bulletin or by contacting Churches for Middle East Peace. So one of the things that I've just been reminded of is how important it is to not lose sight of the big picture of what's happening. And certainly that has to do with the daily death toll, the realities of what's happening in Gaza, the reality and defining understanding the facts on the ground, but also not losing sight of the big picture. What's the strategic play? What are the facts? And not describing intent, but just understanding the geopolitical situation here in the Levant, meaning the Near East, Egypt, Palestine, Israel, Jordan, Syria, Iraq. And I saw plans today, and I am in this. I'm reading the news every single day. I'm aware, but I saw plans today, and I had no idea about this. There are long-term plans that the Israeli government has had and is engaged in on projects that are big projects, such as the Ben Gurion Canal. I had not heard of this. The idea and plan is to build a canal between the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. Now, why is that significant? Well, what gets in the way of building a canal? If you look at a map, there is an area along the Mediterranean that's 25 miles long, and it is called Gaza, and it gets in the way. And I just am stating a fact. I'm not telling you that Israel went to war against Hamas because of the Ben Gurion Canal project. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, look at a map, and I had no idea that this project existed. And to give you an idea, a quick summary about it that was published in the Israeli newspaper Israel Hayom. This is a national Hebrew language free daily newspaper. It's distributed for free around Israel. It claims to be the most widely distributed newspaper in English, and it's owned by Sheldon Adelson. Sheldon Adelson is one of the major proponents of settlements, so very right wing. Israel Hayom says, this free daily newspaper says this about the Ben Gurion Canal project. Speculations abound that Israel's desire to control Gaza and eliminate the influential Hamas organization is inextricably linked to unlocking the immense economic opportunities presented by the Ben Gurion Canal. Okay, I'm literally just reading to you what this newspaper says. The potential economic gains from this project are projected to far outweigh the astronomical construction cost, which is a staggering, this is the newspaper now saying this, $100 billion, with the canal expected to become highly profitable within a short period of time, generating an expected revenue of $10 billion a year. According to the article, the strategic waterway would not only create a direct and cost-effective alternative to the Suez Canal, which would also, of course, cut off major economic, the Suez Canal is a major economic resource for Egypt, right? But this would be an alternative to the Suez Canal. It would also serve as a potent tool in restraining China's burgeoning economic might and its ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, that's number one. So let's just look at the big picture, and I could give you tons of examples, but that's just one example. Number two, another issue that was discussed in several of the meetings today is to not forget the fundamentals. And so I had a meeting today with His Royal Highness Prince Hassan, who said something profound, and it's so simple and yet so profound. He said, the bedrock of stability is human dignity. The bedrock of stability is human dignity. If we just return to those fundamental principles, and for those of us who consider ourselves followers of Christ, the Christian idea of Imago Dei, the image of God in every person, I think that means at the very root, we should not kill them. Love your neighbor, love your enemy. Don't kill your neighbor, don't kill your enemy. Be the victim Jewish, Christian, or Muslim. This whole idea that extremist Christians or Christian Zionists or anyone that, civilians in Gaza support Hamas. One, that's not true. Two, or it's complex, right? That Hamas has a political wing and a military wing, et cetera, et cetera. But even if it were true, don't kill them. Right? And Jewish people should live in security and freedom. And a Palestinian in Gaza, Hezbollah, Hamas, or an Israeli soldier, they shouldn't be killed either. And it might sound so simple, but returning back to this idea of Romans 10:9, hate what is evil and cling to what is good. And so I just want to remind us, it's also not that complex. We can stand together regardless of our differences in saying, stop killing one another. Like, just stop. And so the US should stop sending bombs that are being used to kill children in Lebanon, that are being used to kill children in Gaza. And we also have to stand alongside and protect, Jewish communities and Israelis as well. And one of the things I heard very clearly in these official meetings in Jordan is the promise of security from neighboring Arab states to the state of Israel. Particularly if they end or as they end aggression in Gaza. Okay, 3, finally, one of the most profound issues discussed was the effect of the burgeoning war in Lebanon on the already fragile Christian community in the Middle East. Now, this also might sound obvious, but the war between Israel and Hezbollah could quickly become a war between Israel and the Lebanese forces. The Lebanese forces will be forced to defend the civilian population in Lebanon. Already, 1 million people have been displaced. Israel's having ground, these incursions along the border. If this increases, if this continues, etc., very quickly, the Lebanese army could get involved. And the Lebanese army is much, much weaker than the Israeli forces. And if the Lebanese army is decimated or destroyed, that will create a vacuum for Hezbollah and other militant groups to rise. But not only that, that means that Christians and the other minority groups within the Lebanese society will be increasingly vulnerable. Literally, the very presence and future of Christians in the Near East and the Middle East is at risk. And so we need to be talking so much more about this. We talk about it a lot at Churches for Middle East Peace, but I really, really wanted to highlight that. There's a lot more I could say. I just want to give you a quick summary of some of the things that have happened in the last 24 hours. Please use this information as fodder for prayer to motivate us to engage in love and action, as Pope Tawadros talked about in my meetings with him yesterday in Cairo. Nearly 100 U.S. health workers who have served in Gaza demand an arms embargo to Israel. They sent a letter to President Biden. This was in the Huffington Post. I'd really, really, really encourage you to read it. One of their conclusions is that with the number of children and young men who have come in, they have treated them with direct wounds to the head, gunshot wounds to the head, gunshot wounds, that there is an intentional, that there is nothing less than an entire generation that is vulnerable. I'd encourage you to read the letter, firsthand accounts for those who are in Gaza. President Biden yesterday said that he does not support any potential Israeli retaliatory strike on Iranian nuclear sites. Israel has the right to respond, but they should do so proportionally. The White House is working to limit the Israeli response to Iran's ballistic missile attack on Tuesday. Israel does not feel the need to respond in an immediate and significant way, U.S. officials say, citing conversations with Israeli officials. An Israeli airstrike in Beirut killed 6 people and injured 7 others today. The second and deadliest strike on the capital since hostilities began in October. The strike hit the office of the Islamic Health Authority, a health services institution operated by Hezbollah. The IDF says the strike was precise. That's the Washington Post. Israel's military said yesterday that 8 of its soldiers were killed in combat in South Lebanon. 5 had been engaged in close-range engagements with Hezbollah, the military said. Separately, the military said it killed 15 Hezbollah members today. Israeli airstrikes and a ground operation targeting Khan Yunis in Gaza killed at least 51 people and injured 58 last night, Tuesday night. Monday night's death toll in Gaza was over 60 people. So the idea that things have decreased, that people are no longer dying in Gaza is fundamentally not true. At least 8 people separately were killed and injured in an Israeli bombardment of an orphanage building housing displaced civilians near Gaza City, the orphanage said. Across the enclave, the Israeli military said it had bombed 4 school buildings during the day, which Palestinian civil defense said killed 23 people. I just want you to know, Gaza is being decimated. It continues to be decimated every single day. every single day. And if our churches can't say pray for Gaza, something is wrong with our faith. Honestly, Israel has banned UN Security Council UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres from entering the country. The foreign minister said was failed to unequivocally condemn Iran's attack on Israel and does not deserve to set foot on Israeli soil. The Israeli military said today it killed the head of the Hamas government in Gaza and 2 other Hamas leaders in a strike 3 months ago, NBC News reported, and preparations are underway for the second round of polio vaccinations in Gaza, which is expected to start in mid-October. Hamas has been let down by its Arab neighbors in the wake of October 7th. A senior official said that Iran might be the only country supporting the resistance, and Yemen's Houthis claimed to have launched a drone attack on Tel Aviv area overnight. The Israeli military said 1 drone was intercepted and the second fell in an open area with no injuries reported. Continue to pray for peace. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for Israel. Pray for Gaza. Pray for Lebanon. Continue to work towards peace. In the name of Christ. Amen.